morning, beautiful people. It's a bright Wednesday morning, the 2nd of July, 2025. And you're tuned in to Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. I am Oluwayemi Adelakun.
And I am Pat Aito. Thank you for starting your day with us, whether you are at home or on the road or just settling into the office. We are here to bring you a fresh start, great vibes, and of course, the biggest stories making waves here in Ibadan, Nigeria, and across the globe.
Exactly, that's right, Pat. And speaking of waves, politics in Nigeria has been anything but calm lately. There's been a whirlwind in the People's Democratic Party, from the long-standing crisis between former Governor Nyesom Wike and Governor Sim Fubara in Rivers State to the dramatic 100th NEC meeting that are stonks wagging.
Exactly, Gabi. And but here, what is interesting after months of tension, accusations, and some serious political foot dragging, it looks like there is a new chapter unfolding. Wike and Fubara seems to be charting a truce, or at least something that looks like peace. Is this just a political ceasefire, or could it be a true comeback moment for the PDP as 2027 creeps closer?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? With the NEC meeting behind them, which many say was more symbolic than strategic, PDP is clearly trying to put its house in order. But can it actually rally the troops, fix internal fractures and present a united front in time for 2027?
Well, that is what we are unpacking today in our big story, from crisis to comeback. Wike, Fubara and the PDP's path to 2027. We will be joined by a political analyst and commentator, Ambrose Igboke, who will help us dissect not just the surface drama, but the deeper implications for party structure, South politics and national strategy.
And Ambrose never holds back, whether you're a political junkie or just trying to understand where the country is headed. This conversation will matter because, let's face it, 2027 might feel far, but the moves are already happening now.
Well, meanwhile, around the world and right here at home, we got a lot trending. We will be glazing at what is hot on the streets of Ibadan, plus global happenings that are shaping the way we live, think, and even vote, from tech to culture, economy to entertainment. Trend Watch later on will bring you up to speed. Exactly.
So grab your tea or coffee, settle in, and don't touch this star. Do not, stop joining us. Please stay with us. Today's show promises insight, energy, and maybe a few surprises.
Yeah, it's Daybreak Live. It's Wednesday, and it's time to rise with purpose. We are ready, and we hope you are too.
Of course, you can join the conversation across our social media handles. Of course, we are on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast.
All right,
good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Amy. You're looking stunning this morning.
Thank you. You look very good.
Thank you too. Well, a lot is happening.
Honestly.
Well, we don't really need to delve into that politics because we have that coming up on Big Story this morning. But then there is something that is happening.
Yes, I think I have the story, and then it talks about the case of a student, Basola Jamiu Wudoni, who gained admission into FUTA Akure to study civil engineering after taking JAM in 2017. And of course, he spent about 6.5 years in school. And when it was time for him to actually be redeployed for NYSC, he was told that his result is fake. He was given a fake admission, and this guy graduated with a CGPA of 4.41 and was not allowed to participate in official NYSC due to JAM's claim that his name was not found in the system as a matriculated student.
So what went wrong?
Honestly, that's the question I've been asking, because someone who spent 6.5 years in school,
let's say 7 years,
paid tuition fee, wrote exams, passed, and came up with this, CGPA 4.41. How is he going to process this thing in his head? Because, and I learned that apart from him, there are about other 4,000 Nigerian students that are actually going through the same issue. Because recently, I think some people who wrote JAM, also complained about the fact that their scores were mixed up. A particular lady had to come online to say she's very, sure about, our brother's, capacity when it comes to, education. And then at the end of the day, it was worked on. We discovered that the boy did not score below 200. He actually scored above 200. So what is really going on?
So I think that's a systemic failure we've been clamoring, we've been talking about ever since. Because we can remember that in this guy's case, I mean, Obashola Jamiu, I feel so sad for him, being an orphan, and he must have gone through a lot before they could get that work hard, study hard to get that CGPA. And you getting 4.41. It's something that, like, yes, I am happy. I know I can get a job wherever I get to. But now coming to, like, okay, I want to have my NYSC done, I want to register, and that's when he got to know that his name is not in the system. There are lots of questions around it. Was it the one that actually started the processing when he got the admission? You know, some people will tell you that, okay, I got the admission, can you just help me go through the processes? Maybe I'm actually going to work and they won't even give me time to do that, and you give it to somebody else to do it for you. And while doing that, the person might not have told you some certain things he might have gone through or she might have gone through.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Of course.
Now, you are in school, you graduated. 7 years after, you got to know that your JAMB was incorrect or not found, or your name was not found on the list. Where do you want this boy, where do you want this guy to start from? And don't forget, a lot has been happening in JAMB.
Yes, just like I
said. The
said.
examination body. I remember when a lady, a young girl that came to say, oh, I scored so, and so they said, where did you get that from? And the girl said, yeah, I saw it.
Miss Homer, I think that's it.
Do you understand?
Yes.
There were lots of people that were lashing the girl, that were saying, why? Where did you get the thing? The result is not good. And
it's fake.
It's fake. Back and forth. The result was real. And that was when there was a man that gave the lady a scholarship.
Yes. So I think it's what JAMB should look into. Apart from this guy.
It's a serious issue.
Exactly. I think I learned about, just like I said, about 4,000 Nigerian students are also going through the same issue that Basola is going through.
How are they going to solve it?
I mean, let these people, come up with their data. Okay, this is my, information concerning this whole thing. Let them work on it. Because I recall that there was a time in Nigeria we were not experiencing this kind of issues with JAMB. The only thing that, student experience is, okay, you might get to your center, your system might shut down, you might not be able to save, issues like that. But issues surrounding mixture of scores, people not getting to know they are not registered duly after 7 years in the university is actually something that JAMB should look into. The top executives should sit down and find a way to actually come up with something. It is not
as if the registrar should just come and start shedding crocodile tears like this is what happened. Where do you want this poor boy to start from?
Exactly.
Where do you want him to start from? That's who disorganizing him.
He's even lucky the fact that he has a lot of persons talking about. What about the other people that their name is not even open
and
to
they
the
don't
public?
even
They
have
don't know
they
how
don't
they're
even
going
have
to resolve the issue. So it's something that should be looked into. Really.
Well, that's on the gist for this morning on Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Of course, JAMB should actually look into that because
of course.
You don't need to disorganize young people that are actually coming up to live a better life for themselves, and especially for this guy, Obashola Jamiu, and him, an orphan, trying to live for himself.
Who had to also to school to actually get to that point.
In fact, when I saw it, I was just like, why? And remember, a lot of us, we don't really have that strength to. The way some people will say pressure. Some can tell you that, okay, I can attest, I can stay with this, I can actually overcome this pressure. Some people can't.
I watched the video
looking at what happened during the last JAMB, where we had errors when the candidates resit, they did another exam.
Okay.
One lady or one girl committed suicide.
Yes. Because of the result.
Because of the result.
It's not serious. So we are just hoping that this will be resolved soon, because I watched the video that the guy did, and in that video you can tell that he's mentally disturbed. I mean, he graduated 2024 last year. I'm sure most of his colleagues must have gone for NYSC, maybe preparing to wrap up or something, and he's still here, still trying to know. But I even learned that he had to go through the DSS, a lot of questioning. He was actually bailed out of the police custody.
And you know the funniest thing. Jam still arrest this poor guy.
Yeah, he was caught for questioning. He was bailed out. It's a serious issue, honestly. It should be looked into so that we can avert issues like this.
All right, remember that you can interact with us. You can listen and watch us on www.dominion.org.ng. And of course, you can follow us across our social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominioncast. All right, that's much we can take on the gist for this morning. We're heading straight to the Daybreak News. Stay with us. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. A very good morning to you. Welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I am Pat Aito. The federal government has pumped more than 65 billion naira into basic health to support the continued implementation of the Basic Health Care Provision Fund in the 2025. This followed the resolutions of the 11th Expanded Ministerial Oversight Committee MOC meeting in Abuja, chaired by the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate. The MOC said that over 32 billion billion naira from the first quarter 2025 release has been approved to cover BHCPF implementation for both the first and second quarters of the year. The federal government is collaborating with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, to strengthen Nigeria's ability to combat terrorism, financing and money laundering linked to the nation's vast solid mineral resources. During a visit to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alaki, and UNODC's project coordinator on counterterrorism, Tom Parker, commended the Nigeria's effort to curb illegal mining, especially the introduction of the mining marshals. The initiative, funded by the Canadian government, aims to build the capacity of Nigeria's criminal justice system to detect, investigate and prosecute illicit financial flows associated with conflict financing, including funding for armed groups and organized crime within the mining sector. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has unveiled a comprehensive electoral timetable for 2025 and 2026, including 5 major elections and the nationwide resumption of continuous voter registration. This announcement was made by INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu during the second quarterly consultative meeting with resident electoral commissioners held in Abuja. The electoral body, in a statement on its official X handle, said it is gearing up for a busy period with a series of crucial polls scheduled across various states. The INEC chairman informed the 5 major elections highlighted in the new timetable include by-elections in 12 states slated for August 16, 2025, followed by the Anambra State governorship election on November 8, 2025. Yakubu also announced the nationwide resumption of continuous voter registration exercise with online pre-registration to commence on August 18, 2025, followed by in-person registration across the country from August 25, 2025. President Bola Tinubu has appointed former governor of Nasarawa State, Tanko Umaru Al-Makura, as the chairman of the governing board of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, disclosed this while launching the ICT development project in 10 selected Nigerian universities. UBEC, a federal intervention agency under the Ministry of Education, is responsible for the release of counterpart funding for basic education delivery across the country. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, AGF Prince Lateef Fagbemi, has pleaded with judges and lawyers in the country to endeavor to make positive impact to the nation's justice system. Fagbemi made this plea at a valedictory court session in honor of the late Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Daniel Toso Abutu. He pleaded that judges and lawyers must ensure that Nigerians and others who deserve justice are not unjustly denied justice. And in business, the World Bank has approved an additional $65 million credit facility for Nigeria under the Sustainable Procurement, Environmental and Social Standards Enhancement SPESSE project. This additional financing brings the total project financing to $145 million, and the approval was granted on the 24th of June 2025, ahead of the earlier projected timeline of the 30th June 2025. The SPESSE project, which commenced in 2025 following an initial $80 billion loan approved in February 2020, is aimed at strengthening Nigeria's procurement systems and enhancing compliance with environmental and social standards across the public and private sector. Always know that you can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at DominionCast. And that is the Daybreak News. Thank you so much for watching. I am Pat Aito. Good morning. All right, good morning once again and welcome to Newspaper Analysis and Review on Dominion Television. Of course, this is Daybreak Live. We'll begin with this day, and this day comes with us one. Two Kano emirs joined Tajuddin Dangote Sayu federal government team in Medina to bury Aminu Dantata, and that's on page 10 of this day. And from this day also, we have this: opposition coalition formally adopts ADC of Vale's party interim ESCO today. And that's talking about, we have some motor riders there. Mark is Pro-10 National Chairman and Aregbeshola Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi spokesperson. And another rider there says, prominent PDP leaders urge members to join movement, say party APC have failed Nigeria. And the last one there says, declare nation a diminished country, embarrassment on world stage. All that is coming from this day, this morning. Well, we all know what's played out. PDP, the back, but unanimously said that the National Party Secretary should continue with what he is doing. That's talking about Samuel Anyanwu. And of course, I mean, we're seeing lots of things coming up within that political party. But here, ADC, that is African Democratic Congress, is calling out some of the PDP, warning them to come over to ADC to unseat the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, come 2027. Will that be possible? Let's wait and see. Well, away from that, we head straight to the Independent. That's Daily Independent. Daily Independent is coming with this. Atiku, Mark, Secondus, PDP bigwigs ask members, Nigerians to join coalition. We have 3 riders there. Says APC government is now a disaster, must be voted out. And second rider there, indices of development have collapsed. Life now hell in Nigeria. And the last riders there says coalition no threat to APC, says Daluri, ruling party acting chair, is saying that. You can read more on page 29 of the Daily Independent. You remember Atiku, Mark Secondus, a former governor of, that's David Mark of former leader, Senate leader former Senate leader, we have David Mark, former vice president, we have Atiku Abubakar, and we have Secondus, and we have former governor of Washington State, Aregbesola. All of them are together to make sure that, what we are going through in Nigeria is enough. And that's why they came up with this party. And of course, will this party be our messiah come 2027? Let's wait and see. We will still have more from the Daily Independent. Infrastructure is more persuasive advertisement of leadership, and that's coming from Tinubu. That's page 29 of the Daily Independent as well. And we have NNPCL announces successful crossing of River Niger, and that's on page 7 of the Daily Independent. A lot is happening there. We have INEC set to release new guidelines on reviewing declared results. INEC is talking there. We have a lot going on in the country, and which you would like to read about. Why don't you grab a copy of Daily Independent to do that? And of course, we head straight to The Guardian. Guardian is coming with this one. 2027 politics. Northern PDP leader settles on ADC as preferred coalition platform. That's on page 6 of The Guardian. And still from the page 6, still from The Guardian, we have Obi flares at St. Lucia's highest honor, Knight Commander title on Tinubu. I'm wondering why? Why are they honoring him with that? Well, we have this as well. That's on page 4. You want to read more? Why? You're asking me? You can read that on page 4 of the Guardian. We have this rap ticket may cost 500 million naira. Post-election litigation, 1 billion naira. Where is this young, not too young to run for office or for election? Where is that bill? You're bringing this. I want to go for House of Rep. I want them to vote. I must get a ticket for 500 million naira. Where am I getting that money from? Away from that, well, you read more on page 4 of The Guardian. Away from that, page 7 of The Guardian has this. Onjo, government quest to probe Akeredolu's death, spark controversy. Let the dead sleep now. Why probe? Why do you want to probe? Who do you want to probe? Well, away from that, head straight to Lagos Rivers Lagos was hit as court clashes claim 1,685 lives in 5 years. That's on page 4 of The Guardian. And Omokri places 3 billion bounty on ex-users threatening Obi's wife, children. And that's on page 29 of The Guardian. And lastly, we have this: operators demand tariff increase to stave off 6 trillion naira gas debt. And that's on page 6 of The Guardian. You want to read more? Pick a copy of The Guardian. Well, away from that, we head straight to the Punch. Punch is coming with this one. There's a small headline there. Still talking politics here. 2027 crossfire. APC strikes back after Mark Lamido slammed Tinubu government. And there's a faintly rider written there. I may not see, but you want to read? Get a copy of the Punch. We have this one coming from the business side. Marketers snub Dangote price cut, retain high fuel costs. I don't know how many times you want to slash cost of fuel. Oh, they slash it with 50 naira, they slash it with 50 kobo. I don't understand. So why are marketers snubbing Dangote's price cost? Maybe they are tired of slashing. Let's have a fixed price. If we're going to sell it for 700 naira per litre, yes, we will know. Today we'll buy for 950 naira. Tomorrow you buy for 925 kobo. I mean, enough is enough. I guess that's why the marketers snubbed Dangote's price cost. Well, that's all we have for you today on the newspaper headline. But we'll head straight to the newspaper analysis with our guest who will be joining us via Zoom this morning. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Yes, our analyst talking about Mr. Gboyega Adejumo is actually standing by and he will be joining us via Zoom this morning. Mr. Gboyega Adejumo, are you there? Good morning.
And how are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you too?
We are still here. Nigeria has happened to all of us, but we will survive.
We will survive with the new political party that we have, ADC.
A new political party, the one with the con?
I'm only thinking that that's our messiah for now, or what do you think?
Really, I should think that we shouldn't be deceived. If the party they want to unseat has a con as their own logo, the way of introducing themselves, and the new one too has the con. Agbado, it is more or less like con for con. You can just put the R, and then it becomes the con proper. I shouldn't think that it is ingenious for anyone to come up with a new party, and then their emblem, their logo, their way of introducing themselves is yet another piece of con. It's not ingenious.
All right, let's start with this from the Punch newspaper. We're seeing 2027 crossfire. APC strikes back after Mark Lamido slammed Tinubu government. With so much riders there, but the riders are not too clear. What do you have to say concerning that?
I should think again that those of us who were alive at that period in time that we all refer to as June 12. It was actually June 12, 1993. I was at the June 12 celebration this year at Biola's house, representing the Patriots group. I've always attended. It's either that Oke Odumakin is marking or Aare Ona Kakanfo is marking. I've always been involved in all the celebration. But this year, because I'm the chair of the committee that is vested with the task of getting the zones together. So I happen to chair the Southwest Zone so that we can have a conversation. We're going to have a summit in Abuja on the 15th. So I had to be there and I gave a speech. And it's all about, well, awareness. We are talking of an event that happened, how many years ago? 32 years ago?
Yeah.
And again, if we're thinking of those who are eligible to vote, you have to have been 18. So if you're not 50 years old today, you may not really understand what went down with June 12. Why am I saying all of this? Simple. There was a Sule Lamido that was the secretary of the SDP, and together with Aneni, his chairman, they signed away the victory of June 12. They capitulated and promptly supported Abacha. So why would I want to take Sule Lamido seriously? Why should I take him so serious? This was the man that during the first, second incarnation of President Obasanjo as a civilian president, he was there. And he ended up picking a fight with President Obasanjo. He's always been picking fights with mostly presidents from the South. So that is Sule Lamido for you. I don't know who he would want to address his diatribe. I don't want to be insulted. That is not my style. But it is pure pontification to come and tell us about June 12 without talking about his own role as someone who betrayed the spirit of June 12.
All right.
And anything he's been saying since then has not exactly reflected anything different from that person who threw away that mandate as the secretary of the party in 1993.
All right, still talking about the headline there, that is the 2027 crossfire as APC strikes. What is the basis of APC's confidence in defeating the opposition coalition in 2027 elections?
Well, first things first, I'm not a fan of Mr. President. I can never be. I have granted enough interviews to go around the 365 days for everybody to know that I'm not a fan of Mr. President. And neither am I hilarious or jumping for joy based on his policies. I don't think his policies are great. But I would query anyone who would want to say to this administration that in 2 years, you haven't solved the problem of insecurity. I mean, I want to pick holes on his economic policies as well as certain policies. But I'll give it to him on what he has done with the tax. It's something that we have been begging for. As the publicity secretary of the Yoruba Summit Group, I once wrote about monkey they chop, monkey they walk, baboon they chop. And I've written several times about what is wrong with the security apparatus. And I will fault him slightly on even that, but I will not on 2 years begin to join the crowd of those who would say that, well, he has not taken care of the insecurity in the North. These same people didn't say one word when Buhari was there for 8 years and he practically messed up the security. Mind you, when Jonathan was there, he did something which people will not give him credit for, but some of us will realize that he did clear the Boko Haram menace. And there was here Jerika, the army general or the army chief of staff, who actually went to battle with these people and cleared them off the map of Nigeria. As at the time we had the election of 2015, the Boko Haram were already scampering away from Nigeria and had established cells in other West African countries. But during Buhari, they came back. They came back stronger even than before.
Okay, hello. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so for all that the new party want to say that to the APC, I would rather they address us Nigerians. I would rather they say to us, we have a problem with the 1999 Constitution, and we are ready to throw it away. We are ready to bring about a people's constitution. I would rather they say to us that the system is bad, not just the structure. That even if you have the best of intentions, even at Awolowo, if you were to have all of that which God gave to him, but in this particular dispensation, there's no way we can say that the system will throw him up, because where are the billions? Awolowo was not that wealthy person. He was a very comfortable man. Yes, he was a lawyer. God gave him, the wherewithal to be able to amass all the wealth, but he didn't.
All right.
So why would Awolowo have emerged if he were to live at these times? And humanity would have suffered for it. So we cannot continue with this system. We have to go back to the parliamentary system. So is the new party telling us that? And in tackling security, are they saying that we are going to have state police, local government police, and perhaps even regional militia? So they have not told us anything. All they want is just to clear the ruling party away. That is not enough. That is never going to be enough.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, let's look at it. You're talking about is that you're not a fan of Mr. President, and you're talking about security issues and economic woes being faced in the country. Do you see this coalition party, ADC, coming up with a big, what's it called, a big way to address the current economic and security challenges being faced in the country?
Well, the truth is that there's too much of wastages. NNPC is a cesspool of corruption and crass, unbridled.
Mr. Gboyega, do you...
Particularly sickening cesspool of corruption and wastages. That is the NNPC. We need to focus seriously on what governance has become in Nigeria. A country of assuming that we are actually like 240 million people, and then we have close to 50 ministers. What are we doing with 50 ministers? China, with 1.3 billion people, they only have 25 ministers. America, with their 340 million population, they only have 15 ministers. What are we doing with 50? Why are we creating all these new parastatals when the Orisai report actually said we don't need more than 180 from the almighty 460? And this president actually told us when he came on board that he was going to go by the Orisai report, which he has not. Rather, he has even added more to the MDAs. So we have a problem with wastage. We have a problem with duplication. It's more or less like job for the boys. It's more or less like Mr. President is just rewarding his people and creating this avenue of using politics to perhaps shut up opposition. And who is actually the loser? And it's Nigeria, because it's our resources, our meager resources, that is pouring into the engagement of all manners of individuals, whether they are qualified or not, that are in his government. So that is one area I find particularly wrong. Another one is the devaluation of the Naira. Everybody knows that once they tell you to start devaluation, you never stop.
All right.
The moment Babangida did that in 1986, we've never stopped. Before then, we never devalued Nigeria. From 1960 to 1986, we never devalued the Naira.
All right, so
and it was Professor Sam Malukobo who said whoever devalues the currency of his country is a traitor.
All right, Mr. Gboyega, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I want you to wrap up your thoughts on that so that we can move on to next headline. Yeah.
You want me to what? Sorry,
I want
didn't
you
quite
to
hear
wrap
that.
up. I want you to wrap up on your thoughts concerning that headline that I just told you, and of course, let's delve into another headline from The Guardian.
Well, I've mentioned something about the security situation that we want to have established security architecture that will include a local government type police, just like we have in many places in the world, which is called county police in America, for example. We want to have even state police like the LAPD, like the NYPD and the rest. But again, even in America, they have city police. For every city, they have their own police, apart from the state, apart from the county. But then again, most states in America do have militia, which is like the military. So we want to have all of that. We of the Southwest, that is part of what we are going to say to the federal on the 15th of July, that we want a militia for the whole of the Southwest.
All right, Doctor, away from that.
So if there's anything you want to remind me of on
Okay. Doctor, let's head straight to The Guardian. We have this one, 2027, Northern PDP leaders set to own ADC as preferred coalition. Doctor, what about zoning?
Zoning, it is perhaps that terminology that creates the problem.
Because if
Northerners... What I want to believe is that...
Go on,
Sorry,
go on.
Are you saying something?
Yes, I won't say something. That's what happens.
When you see the term zoning creates a lot of issues. It is looking like, oh, we want to condescend. We want to simply accept a certain arrangement. But in the real sense of it, it is about justice. It is about equity. It is about liberty. It is about equality. And it is about opportunity. There must be a way of balancing. If a zone, or let's say a part of the country, in 1914, both the northern and the southern protectorates were amalgamated. And if the North has spent 8 years, it only comes to equity. And he who comes to equity must come with clean hands, that the South must have their own 8 years. And if that was respected with Buhari, why is it not being respected for Tinubu? Like I said, I'm not a fan of Mr. President, but on that dignifying stance of a principled approach to management, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If the North had their 8 good years, so why are we not going to have 8 years of a Southern president? The same thing that happened to Obasanjo in 2003 is what is happening to Tinubu now. In 2003, the same North, it didn't matter which party, started to raise people. Even at that time, Obasanjo's party, the PDP, they almost did not even want him to contest. I remember that the chair of the party was even telling him, don't come to Eagle Square, you'll be disgraced. So it's not a new thing. It's something that we know that a particular part of the country will never, ever agree to a gentleman's agreement, will never, ever want to pander to what exactly should be the norm. If you spend 8 years, if the 8 years of the North is sacrosanct, then it should be sacrosanct from the South, for the South as well. So it is back to this idea of those who have a sense of entitlement, never wanting to even spare even 2 years, let alone 4 years, for a Southern president. And worst case is when even the Southern president is a Christian. So again, it's something that some of us, we've come across a few times, and we're not comfortable with the idea of some people having that sense of entitlement. That is the reason why we have to call for the question, the Nigerian question, to be fully addressed, to know whether this union is union of equals, or some people are meant to be subservient to another set of people.
All right, let's flip to the economic side now. Marketers snub Dangote's price cuts to retain high costs, fuel costs. Why is that so?
Well, it's again about the wastage. All we want is fuel. We want fuel, and we want it in large quantities. Nigerians have been sold a lie for too long. There was a time President Obasanjo sold the two refineries, the major refineries, one in Kaduna and the one in Warri. And, well, Yar'Adua came out reversed it. And to tell you the truth, I'm not so sure that I will ever forgive Yar'Adua for that, because those were moribund things. Today, we've spent trillions of dollars ever since then to fix these refineries that at best only worked for 2 or 3 months.
But there was a time. There was a time where being.
Hold on, please.
Okay.
I'm just building a case.
Okay.
Now, if you put all of our refineries together, all the refineries Nigerians have, the two in Warri, the two in
Port Harcourt. Hello, are you still?
PMS, they will not give you anything close to 600,000 barrels per day. And that is exactly the point. All of them put together, they cannot produce what Dangote's refinery, one refinery, the Dangote refinery is given the whole of the country. So even if all your refineries are working, all of them, they cannot match the production of Dangote. And if you look at what we consume per day in Nigeria, Dangote can service Nigeria and service 4 other countries in Africa. So the point is, why are we still importing petrol? And let me tell you something. When the idea of looking for a way to balance and come to a position of pitching the local market with the government rate, I thought, okay, fine. By the time we do away with importation of petroleum products, then the demand on the dollar would go down by at least half, and naturally Naira would appreciate and dollar will fall. But it has not happened that way. Why? Because this government still allows certain people to still import petrol when we have Dangote. And what does Dangote do? When he realizes that it's about competition and he's a businessman, what does he do? He will lower his price. I'm actually waiting for that day. He's going to lower his price, that those who import the petroleum product will go back and begin to count their losses. That is the truth. We don't need to import. The strain on the Naira, look, there was a time that it was calculated that we need about $500 million dollars per day. That is to run Nigeria for every import that we do. But even on that 500 million, petroleum products alone was about $350 million per day. So even if you took that away, then there will be less pressure on the Naira. And then normally it will improve. But if the government still allows people to import petrol, I don't know what we are doing. We have Dangote, who is even exporting to other countries.
All right, because of our time, Dr. Ogbuega Adejumo, you are a member of Afenifere under Pa Ayo Adebanjo. From your thoughts this morning, you've been talking about Oronsaye report and you did not mention Confab. In your own opinion, which of these reports should we adopt? Because you're talking about we reviewing our 1999 Constitution. So I'm asking, in your own opinion, which of those reports should we adopt, Oronsaye or Confab?
Oronsaye or which one again?
Or Confab reports. I mean, Confab.
Both of them serve different purposes. Oronsaye report is about governance, is about having to look at the wastages and how to curb them, how to reduce the number of parastatals, how to reduce the number of ministries, and how to cut wastages. That is what Oronsaye report is all about. It's about governance. But the Confab is about the polity, is about the quality of the methodology that we are going to have to consider to make Nigeria, so that everybody can have a sense of belonging. But before I even go further, let me say this. I'm an Aoist, first and foremost, and I'm an Aoist. The spirit of Afenifere lives in me. But sometime last year, while I was still the publicity secretary of the Afenifere, I signified my intention to the late Papa Adebanjo that I would like to, suspend my membership for a number of reasons. But still, I'm an Aoist. I may have left physically, but I'm still in spirit an Afenifere. And on that, I will tell you that there can never be two Afenifere. Even when we had the AG uprising of 1962, in fact, one of the last things I did with the late Papa Adebanjo was when we went to Jos to commiserate with the people last year, when there was so much killing on the plateau, I made sure that the driver took us to Hill Station Hotel, where it all happened in 1962, and Papa Adebanjo was a witness. And the fact is,
Doctor,
even after that 1962 uprising, Afenifere still remained one. Those who fell out, like Roshiji and the rest of it, and Akinloye, they fell out. And again, anytime that happens, that people don't go with the principled ideological stance of Afenifere, and they fall out, but the Afenifere will always remain. So those who fell out, when the likes of Jakonde Babatope fell out, those who fell out even in 2003, Tinubu and the rest, and those who fell out again in 2023, you know them.
All right, Doctor. We have less than
those who fell out. Then they fell out. So
we have less than 1 minute.
Papa Adebanjo, the leader of Afenifere now is Kabiyesi Oba Olaitan. Oladipo Olaitan. So that is it.
All right.
If anyone falls out, they fall out, and that's it. Afenifere continues.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. We appreciate your thought on that. Okay, now let's look at it. Obi is actually fuming. Should I use that word? It flies at the highest honor, Knight Commander title on Tinubu. Let me just ask this: what is the criteria for that title?
Are you saying the one that happened at St. Lucia?
Yes, St. Lucia.
Oh, okay. It's a very simple matter. Knights are made perhaps from what you can call the secular as well as the sacred. In the sacred, in the Anglican Church, we don't really have knighthood. But in the Catholic Church, there is, of course, the knighthood. We had in our own fold, too, we had Sir Laniho Ajayi, and there are quite a few Sirs. And in the British Empire of those days, and their colonies, they had the ones with the KBE, who are knighted as well. And that is, let's say, in the sacred. In the secular, if you're a member of the Illuminati, you are knighted as well. There are certain traditional groups like the Ogboni too, you are knighted. Like the Lodge, you are knighted. The Rosicrucians, you are knighted. So do we actually know the kind of knighthood that was bestowed upon the president? We only saw this image of, well, a sword placed on his shoulder. Is it even the knighthood of the Illuminati? We don't know. But how do you leave your own country? How do we leave your own country and travel over the seas and arrive at a small island that is in size? About 180,000 people. In fact, the smallest local government in Ibadan has more population, local government in Ibadan, I'm not even talking of Oyo State, has more population than St. Lucia. What is 183,000 people? And then you go all the way, and you're supposed to be the leader, or perhaps Nigeria at one time at least was the leading nation or country in Africa. And then you go all that far to be
Hello, doctor, are you there? Doctor, are you there? No. All right, we'll be joined by doctor very soon. But then, let's actually look at it. He's actually talking about the main OB flaying up that the honor being bestowed upon president. That's talking about Mr. Tinubu. That's Knight Commander title on him. He fled up, and that's what exactly Dr. Boyega Adejumo is sharing his thoughts on that. But then we'll be waiting for him till when he returns. We'll continue from that. But remember that you can follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Of course, you can listen, watch, and interact with us on www.dominion.org.ng. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Well, there are lots here. He had said a lot, and we have this. I mean, that's the one coming from the front. He's talking about marketers snubbed Dangote price cuts. That's really shocked me, because if you were saying you want to make our economy stable, and you gave some people license to still refine our petrol in dollars. What are you doing? These are the corruption we are talking about. These are the corruption we want you to fight, and not just making us to live like a pauper in our own country. For some people, they cannot even fit 101. Some people will still like 101. That's how they eat in the morning and not in the afternoon. Well, I think a lot still needs to be done. We appreciate Dr. Boyega Adejumo. He is a public affairs analyst and a member of Afenifere under Pa Ayo Adebanjo, late Pa Ayo Adebanjo. Well, that's much we can take on newspaper analysis this morning. We appreciate you so much for being part of the show. Coming up next is Big Story. Stay with us. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television.
Nigerians at home and in the diaspora. And today's edition of Big Story, we are diving deep into one of the most pressing political stories shaping the road to 2027. The People's Democratic Party, once Nigeria's dominant political force, has battled through internal rift, high-profile defections, electoral defeat, and shifting alliances. But as the next general election looms, the PDP, are they joining all for a major comeback or heading for political extinction? That's a good question. From crisis to comeback, we dissect the drama, the strategy, and the stakes. With us today is the political analyst and commentator, Dr. Ambrose Igboke, who will help us unpack the PDP's chances, challenges, and of course, choices. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, once considered Nigeria's political powerhouse, as a turbulent party, since losing power at the federal level in 2015, once holding the reins of the national leadership for 16 unbroken years. The PDP has since grappled with internal divisions, zoning controversies, credibility crisis, and the formidable rise of opposition parties like the APC and, more recently, the Labour Party. Now, the 2023 elections further exposed these cracks, key defections, the G5 governor saga, inconsistent messaging, and a fractured campaign left many wondering, is the PDP still a viable national force? Yet, amid the setbacks, there are signs of reawakening, strategic reconciliations, grassroots rebuilding effort, and increasing public dissatisfaction with the current administration, so that the PDP might be positioning itself for a strong return. But is this revival real or too late? That's what we are going to be looking at this morning, because the recent peace deal between that's what we are going to be looking at this morning. Of course, we hope to have our guests in the studio in person of Dr. Ambrose Igboke, who is the Chairman Guild of Public Affairs Analysts from Enugu State. Good morning, Doctor. Oh, can you hear me clearly? All right. Thank you for being on. Yeah, thank you for being on the program this morning. So I would like to ask you this question. At what point do you think the PDP got it wrong? Because a lot of PDP stakeholders have come out to say, oh, I think it started from the issue of when you resigned from the office, he violated, some codes of the party, and then he did not, lay down, better rules for the party. There was no acting national party chairman, not to talk of a substantive national chairman. And of course, the former national publicity secretary of the party, Kola Olugbodiyan, also noted, that PDP members have failed to follow rules. They lay down the laws, but then they don't follow the laws. What do I mean by that? He made, mention of this recent case that PDP is going through. And I'm talking, of course, about this issue of Anyanwu must go, he must leave. Members of the BOT are saying the party chairman has no right to say that, Anyanwu must stay. And members of the NWC, some of them are also not, happy with this situation. These divisions here and there, these cracks here and there, what do you make of this? These divisions, can it actually, give PDP a better chance come 2027? Can you help us unpack, these divisions within the party?
As we know it, the People's Democratic Party has demonstrated in this current dispensation that it doesn't stick to its own rules, that it has no regard for people who are actually making sure that the party works. Let's take the example of the National Secretary.
Okay.
Normally in PDP, when a position is zoned to a particular zone, the caucus of that zone produces the candidate to fill that position. That has been the practice and convention in PDP. So when it came to Anyanwu, the Southeast Caucus of PDP has said repeatedly that they endorsed Udo Okoye as the National Secretary, because Mr. Anyanwu left the position as National Secretary, went to conduct an election. You cannot be an umpire, because the National Secretary that is in charge of screening candidates for the primaries and the rest. So it is deemed that he has resigned, to go and contest an election in 2023. You cannot go there. You cannot do that as a national secretary because, you cannot be a judge in your own case. Then you came back and the couple said, let this Udo Okoye that has been appointed continue as substantive. And then some people, especially the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, and is insisting that the chairman also is insisting, the national chairman is insisting that Anyanwu must be called back. Then the caucus, Southeast caucus, said this is the position, which is the PDP. So the PDP national chairman, and they are supposed to respect and abide by the decision of the zonal caucus. So it is first of all disrespectful that the PDP will not allow a whole zone, the Southeast zone, to have its way and allowing just one or two individuals have their way. That is disrespectful. That is insulting. And then also, Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State is the leader of the PDP in the Southeast today because the only governor of that of PDP in the Southeast. And he has been trying his best to ensure that the party stands in the region. Remember that PDP, the whole region, Southeast region, used to be PDP. Now, because of the kind of shenanigans happening in PDP, a lot of them have left. And then it's remaining only one. Yet, the PDP thinks that the best way to treat somebody who has been trying to keep the party in the region is to disrespect him. This is not going to augur well because it is like in Latin, in the Catholic Church, there's a Latin word song called Nunc Dimittis. Nunc Dimittis means a nice prayer where you sing before you go, and then sometimes they sing it at a funeral. So this is like the funeral song for the PDP. And it will be cosmetic to say that the problem started, because your child, you resigned and the rest. I think it's a deeper problem.
Okay.
The deeper problem is the fact that the PDP, the Southeast region, and the Igbo people generally have PDP as a stronghold since it was founded in 1998. Perhaps because the founder of the PDP, who was G34 at that time, which the late Alex Ekweme, was an Igbo man. And that is why maybe we supported, because in 1999 election, all the governors were Igbos. In the north, it was not like that. We had APP that had the elections, that had governors. When we come to the southwest, we had the Alliance for Democracy, AD, basically that swept the whole place. So it was only the southeast region, Igbo, that didn't have a regional party. So we were all PDP, even when in 2003, when Muhammadu Buhari contested, chose an Igbo man, it was still Igbo people still voted for PDP, the Southeast. Even though it came by the way, whom the Igbos hold in very high respect, contested the election, but they still voted for the PDP. When Muhammadu Buhari also chose another Igbo person as Ahamba, as Ronnie Belobi, it's the same thing. The Southeast voted for PDP. The same thing when Chibokadibo crossed over to ANPP those days, we still voted for PDP. Now, when it came to 2023, when the rotational presidency was returned to the south after President Muhammadu Buhari did his 8-year tenure from the north, it was natural that the PDP would have selected somebody from the southeast to be his flag bearer, because when he reverted, the southwest PDP, in the person of Olusegun Obasanjo, has produced did his 8 years. The south, the person of President Goodluck Jonathan, did 6 years. So it was only the southeast in the south that has not been given the presidential ticket of the PDP. But what did the PDP do? The PDP manipulated its way through some interested parties and said they were throwing it open. Why will you throw something that is rightfully for the southeast open? When it was other regions, it was not thrown open. Excuse me. So it was not thrown open. So it is therefore an insult on the Igbos and the Southeast to suffer that fate. Now that forced somebody like Peter to be out of the party, and we are having that issue today now.
Olaf, thank you. Oh, bless you. Thank you for that. So I would like to ask you again, because you have mentioned, talked about the issue of zoning, which has affected the party. And when we look at it, zoning has actually, eaten deep into the fabric of the PDP. So I want to ask you now, do you think PDP has what it takes to actually, go hand in hand or try to seat the president of APC, come 2027? Because according to the party chairman, Damagud, he said that there's going to be a comeback in 2027. And of course, the likes of GRV, they're also saying that, once the party is united, they have all it takes, to actually defeat APC 2027. Do you agree with that? Or you have like a counter opinion?
I think Mr. Damagud is playing the role of an undertaker. An undertaker, I think he has been employed as an undertaker to bury PDP.
Okay, that's your take.
The election waste.
Okay, all right. Please go ahead, I can hear you.
There's no PDP. There's no PDP again in the Southeast. Because with this treatment of the only governor of the Southeast who is a PDP person, perhaps the Southeast Caucus last month said that if the national chairman and his cohorts keep on treating the Southeast Caucus this way, that they will determine a different path for their political future. So that will definitely happen if this trajectory continues, if the PDP does not rescind on these decisions to insult the whole of the caucus of the Southeast geopolitical caucus of the party. Therefore, just yesterday, we saw that a good number of PDP people, strongholds in PDP, people like Elijah Atiku Abubakar, David Mark, and some other people, have joined forces with some other people to form another political alliance. So the same thing will happen surely here if these decisions are not rescinded. Therefore, it will be hard as a foolery to say that you want to unseat a sitting president when you are purposely, intentionally putting your party to death, because it's like slowly injecting a poison on PDP, and it's breathing into the ICU now, intensive care unit. And it seems that Mr. Damagud is just ready to bury the party. With this, it's unfortunate that a behemoth of PDP that used to be a colossal party is now in disarray this way. And that the national chairman, instead of trying to save the party and work with elements, party faithfuls in the Southeast, people who have been loyal to the party, what he decided to do is to keep them aside and then think he wants to bury the party.
All right, thank you. Speaking of the coalition, I have a question for you on that. Do you think it's for the PDP or against the PDP? Because I heard that, or I read stories that, some of the things that were discussed in that meeting is to decide whether some PDP members will stay in PDP and then, some will join the coalition. Do you think it's for the PDP or against the PDP? This coalition that we speak of, will it, bring an end to the PDP and then we'll have a brand new political party?
Well, from the current realities, I think the PDP is against itself.
Okay. Because
if you have to put your house in order, and then when external forces strike. But right now, the PDP is at war with itself through the national chairman and some few of his cohorts, who are using both external forces and their own internal shenanigans to destroy the party. So we don't even need to have external forces fighting the party. If you are invited, there's a proverb that when you bring firewood, you bring anti-infested firewood, you invite a lizard to your house. And that is what is really happening now in the PDP. So the coalition, most of the coalition members left because, the current leadership at the national level of the PDP is hell-bent on not listening to party members, is bent on not carrying party members along, and is bent on not even respecting the arms, the various structures that make up the party, and that is a whole problem. And then, unfortunately, the only person who seems to stand firm against what the shenanigans is the governor of Enugu State, and it is very appalling that even the governor's forum in the PDP, they are not making an effort to take a stand in this kind of thing and confront the national chairman. I'm still seeing the kind of dilly-dally. We're seeing the kind of, there's no affirmation of opposition to what the national chairman is doing. So apart from Peter, but I don't see anything happening again. So the governors forum under the PDP governors forum should come out together and stand with one voice and be able to tackle this thing, because one or two people cannot be stronger than a whole PDP governors forum or a whole caucus of a zone. This should not be done this way. And also, it's not too late, but it's already in the ICU. If these things can be rescinded in the next 48 hours or so, then maybe the PDP may have a chance for anything. But if they insist on burying PDP and trying to take it to the morgue, well, there's nothing PDP can do come 2027. Already, they have lost to a party that has lost. That is why people are saying it seems that the national chairman really want to bury the party. Because a party that sat back, you lost two governors within few months, and should worry. But rather than getting worried, what is it doing? It's busy, destroying even the governors that are still faithful to the party. So I will not be surprised if heavyweights in the party start leaving to find better chances that political platforms that will respect them. But as it is now, PDP is in self-implosion.
All right, thank you. So do you still think Nigerians will trust PDP come 2027? Looking at these divisions, that you have pointed out, the factions, what, the party chairman, Damagum, is doing to the party, him restating, the national secretary. Do you still think Nigerians will trust PDP come 2027 with their votes?
Well, there's a lot that will happen before 2027. In fact, between now and December 31st, 2025, there's a lot will happen. The thing, if the PDP continues in this trajectory and does not make efforts to apologize for what they have done or make a U-turn on this kind of decision, especially the contentious issue of the national secretary, and give the Southeast Caucus its rights by practice and convention to bring the position of the national secretary, since it was zoned to the zone, then the PDP would have lost the Southeast. After all, the APC has a Boeing and Imo. The LP has Abia. APGA has Anambra. And this is the only PDP surviving state. So if they're going to lose that, then the Southeast will not trust the PDP anymore if it does this. People who have been loyal for 27 years, 28 years, if you count 1998 when the party started, they'll be so loyal, and then you just come all of a sudden and you disrespect them first of all by not thinking that they are not good enough. So the Southeast is good enough to support candidates from other geopolitical zones, but it is not good enough to produce a presidential candidate in PDP. That is the last statement the PDP has made in 2023. And while they were still trying to manage that, they came again with this insult on the Southeast Caucus. So I think this is no longer about the PDP when you look at it.
All right, away from the issues going on within the PDP now, let's talk about. Okay, can you hear me? Let's talk about another interesting story, going on within the PDP. Recently, we witnessed a kind of peace deal that happened between Fubara and Wiki. And a lot of persons are asking questions. Why is it that a member of another political party had to broker that peace between Fubara and Wiki? Both of them belong to the PDP. Don't you find it a little bit absurd that the PDP could not resolve this issue between predecessor and successor, or godfather and godson, if you like?
Well, I think we're just trying to be diplomatic and maybe try to be nice on air. But from what is going on, we know the instigator of the problem in Rivers State. The same person who is instigating the problem in Rivers State is the person instigating the problems in PDP. And the person is working for the APC. Therefore, it is only natural that the destabilizing factor is because the presidential candidate in 2023, still in PDP. So already that is an anti-party activity. That is a big issue in this. That's a big, punishable offense in any political party. But I still left him there. The intervention of the president, I don't think is based on political party. Intervention of the president is based on the fact that a state, that is the Rivers State governor, it's a governor in a federating state in Nigeria, and as the president, I think he had to intervene to make that to make that happen. But in that intervention, it is clear where the president stands, because from what we heard and read about the resolutions, about the content of the so-called resolutions, it is very clear that it was in favor of the FCT minister. So one would ask whether was it really a peace deal, or was it just an imposition of a directive, give it or take it or leave it, and if you take it, this is what you get. If you leave it, this is what you get. So between the devil and the deep blue sea, I think the governor just had to choose one, because both of them are unpalatable options.
Okay, going by what you have just said, is this peace really peace? Because this is not the first time that the president will step in this matter. I think the last time, papers were signed, but this time we are seeing more pictures, handshakes, and a lot of persons are asking, is this peace, really going to stay for long? Because let me link it to history a little bit. One of the reasons, or the major reason that led to the Second World War was because of the Versailles Peace Treaty of 1919. It laid the foundation for the Second World War, because some parties felt like it was a dictated peace. And so looking at how Rivers State is now, because some supporters of Fubara have come out to say that, to us is not really a peace, it looks like a surrender, outright surrender. What do you make of this? What challenges do you foresee in Rivers State, going by some of the submissions of the supporters of Fubara? Because Fubara went there alone, and a lot of persons are asking, are you sure the interest of Rivers State people have been taken into consideration?
Fubara is in a coup. One, Fubara himself does not have political base. Fubara was single-handedly picked by Governor Nyesom Wike, even against some reservations by a lot of the political party stalwarts. Who did not want, who wanted politicians, who were in their fold to become the governor. But against the party advice, against the party yearnings and the rest, Governor Nyesom Wike single-handedly picked Fubara and imposed him on the party and made him governor. That's the danger of the situation in Rivers State. And then these people also, who are now saying they are Fubara supporters, were actually the people also who didn't want him at that point. Who also wanted to say, okay, no, it should be somebody who has been with us, that would be, which is rightfully so, because they have worked for the party over the years. So Fubara is a greenhorn, basically, in the political machinations in Rivers State. And I think one of the grave mistakes he did was to turn against his sponsor in the first term. It was not strategic in his, even if there's a fight he was going to do, I don't think it was very strategic in the fight he wanted to do. You would have waited, till maybe the second, after he has secured the second tenure, before he starts doing what he did. But when you are a man that has all the State House of Assembly people, basically all of them with him, a man that has can put the levels of authority, you are just the governor was.
I think we have a network issue, but we do.
Well, let's see.
Okay, I think he's back.
Can you hear me? I said it's difficult for him to work unless he's really, going to kowtow to everything Mr. Nyesom Wike tells him to do.
All right, thank you. So, speaking of, the issue of second term, something has been flying around. We are not privy, or let me say, I'm not privy to whether the information is true or not. And then it boils down to the fact that, Fubara might not be allowed to contest for second term, based on some of the mistakes that he made, or some of the, issues or that he had, or he's going through with his predecessor. So what do you make of this? Because a lot of persons are saying, is this not an infringement on his right? Because, it should be about the electorate, the people of Rivers State, to decide whether Fubara should run for second term or not.
Well, the electorate in Nigeria don't have a say when it comes to party nominations.
Really?
The people that have the say in party nomination are the delegates that go for the primaries. So it is what the party throws up that the electorate now vote for, whether the electorate likes the candidate or not, whether the candidate was qualified or not. So for now, that is sadly the real situation in Nigeria electoral system, where a few people called delegates, influenced by whatever factor, go and do what they call party primaries, come up with a candidate and a flag bearer for the political party, who is now the person that will be presented to the electorates to make their choices. So for now, the people of Rivers State have no say. It is the political party to have a say. So if the political party said, okay, we are not giving the governor the ticket to run for the governorship, he will not get it. And if they said, okay, even other political parties will not give, they will not get it. I remember in Rivers State, it's basically a PDP state. So it has all the structures, just like some other states, that have been PDP since 1999. So it will be very difficult for a new party to, especially somebody who doesn't have a lot of political base, to want to bulldoze his way through. Unless all the PDP structure in the Rivers State is collapsed into a political party, there's little or nothing anybody can do. That is the sad reality.
So you think it's a political party thing and not a wicked thing? This issue of second term, you might not be allowed to contest for second term.
Well, in Rivers State, wicked is PDP and PDP is wicked.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. I would like to ask another question, still relating to that, because I read something, or I read the story where Fubara said nothing is too big to ensure peace in Rivers State, and a lot of persons have been trying to, talk about, or let me say, explain further what does it mean by that, because in many occasions, several occasions, Governor Fubara, said that he did some things because he was under pressure. He was sure that, okay, it might not even be in the interest of the people of Rivers State. So I wanted to, can you proffer some solutions to issues like this, from coming up next time? Not even about Rivers State alone. Let's talk about, other governors. How can they deal effectively with their predecessor or their godfather? Looking at the issues that we experience, between predecessor and successor, in this country.
Well, this is not the first time the predecessor and the successor are having issues. I think there is an illusion of power for the incumbents most of the time. Especially when they want to hand over. They want to play God. They want to ensure that the person whom they select are the people who will. But oftentimes, majority of the times, we find out that the successors later want to assert themselves, especially when they are politicians, because they also have their political clout, their political base. And that is why most of the time, many governors, except in maybe Rivers State, Kano State, and one or two other states, that the deputies actually succeeded them in elections. In most of the states, the incumbents don't want their incumbent deputies to succeed them because they feel they have political clout, and it was the political system that brought them into place. So they always want to bring their own man to succeed them. But it has turned out to be a fiasco, an exercise in futility, because most of the time, the new man in power wants to assert himself, because the Nigerian governor is a very powerful position. And then, after the president, perhaps in the subnational, is the person in charge of his state. So he's powerful to the extent of also his political power. We have seen successors, deal with their predecessors, that people that brought them to power. But I think in the case of Fubara, I think that there's too much of an overbearing presence of his predecessor. That is what is happening. That is what is affecting him. And unfortunately for him also, he doesn't have the political base to fight back, because all these people who are around him are just people who don't have power to rescue him from the clutches of the overbearing presence of his predecessor. So it's unfortunate, and it happens like that. But again, we have seen successors, assert their independence, and some of them are even run out their predecessors. Like Nyesom Wike, for example, had a very strong running battle with Amaechi, his predecessor, and he was able to, chase the party, and they had to go to another party, the APC. Until now, he's still, having that kind of power. But all those powerful annotations, presence, and actions, all of them have expiry dates. We have been here since 1999. We saw people who wielded enormous power, and we saw them out of power too. And we also saw them that some of them, their powers fizzled out after a while. So nature has a way of recurring phenomena, and this is one of them. So there will be a time too, somebody's power will also fizzle out. It is the course of nature.
All right, before we go, very shortly, can you talk about the position that, the people of Rivers State should take, looking at, this issue going on between these two parties? They are not quite sure whether things will return to status quo. And by status quo, I mean that, Fubara came out, on many occasions to say that, he was forced to do a lot of things, because of, his predecessor, just like you said. So what position should the people of Rivers State, take, going forward?
And also, before I even speak on that, let me also warn that people who want power should not be desperate for it. Okay. Because I think Fubara also was desperate for power because we heard there was an agreement. If there was an agreement and you know you cannot abide by that agreement,
this governorship. To be a governor is to serve your people. If somebody is giving you impossible conditions, then don't take it. But when you accept it and then when you come forward and you say, I will not do this, elective, it's a big problem. As for the people of Rivers State, it is time for them to really sit down and what will benefit them, because this fight between Fubara and Wike is not for the benefit of the Rivers people. None of them, both of them, are not fighting for the interest of Rivers people. They are fighting for their own political survival. So I will tell the River people, as we say in downtown, shine your eyes.
Shine your eyes, really. I like that line. All right, a big thanks to you, Dr. Ambrose Igboke, the Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs, and is a commentator on national issues. Thank you for being a part of the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
All right, you have a great day, sir.
You too.
All right, there you have it, a deep dive into the turbulence, the turnarounds, and the ticking clock facing the People's Democratic Party as 2027 draws near. From unresolved power struggles to the scars of past defections, the PDP stands at a historic crossroad. Return as a reformed force or repeat the mistakes that brought it down. Nigerians are watching. The political chessboard is shifting, and one thing is clear: sentiment will not win 2027 election. Strategy will. Will the PDP rise from its ashes or fade into background of Nigeria's political history? Time and the will of the people will tell. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakwa, and this has been Big Story on Daybreak Live. Do well to join us same time. The conversation continues. Thank you for being a part of this program. Do not forget, to speak up at all times and stay democratic always. Thank you once again. All right, welcome you back. It is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, and then I think we are left with just one segment this morning. Of course, is to talk about a lot of trending news across the social media platform. And I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me Pat Aito. Welcome back.
Oluwayemi.
I like the way you call my name.
Good to see you, because you're actually saying, I think. You don't need to think. This is the last lap.
Oh, really? I can add to it too.
I had now. You're the producer for today.
I'm not.
All right, let's kickstart. Welcome to Trend Watch, and of course, remember that you can watch us live and interact with us on www.dominion.org.ng. I mean, to listen to us live and interact with us. You can follow us across all our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. So what is trending this morning? Yes. Somebody is talking about bully or no bully or no bully.
And that's coming from Yinka Tissin. She said, I think she tagged Rita Edochie. She said, you are too old to write lies about me. You should be ashamed of yourself. Unfortunately, unlike you, I was brought up properly, so I will not post things that will embarrass a man I profess love for. Stop catching clout. You are too old for this. Take care of your health. I will warn you for the last time. Don't take my sweet nature for granted. Be warned. Honestly. Should I continue?
Continue.
If I hear anything from you again, I will publish some things for the whole world to see. Enough of bullying me.
That's defamation, though. If you publish, that's another way of extorting you or getting money from you big time. Funny, like she said that she's being trained, and if you're being trained, you don't need all this. Just look and go away.
Really?
That is it.
But
whatever
not everyone
it
can
is.
do that.
Okay, now she's talking about the woman is just mocking her because of her marriage.
They just separated recently.
Yeah, a marriage that just collapsed, or that just
crashed.
Let me use that, or not a building now that just crashed with the brother. Do you understand? The woman said, "Oh, she has seen that's happening." So it's something for you to just come. Why didn't you talk about it? Is there something you're seeing in two of us that you feel like, okay, you people just need to go and see a counselor, you need to sit down, you need to iron things out, like if really you want to be together? I mean, the woman is just talking from another angle, like, I'm an elderly person, I've seen this, I've foreseen this before it happens, but because you people are in love, you don't want to see it, so that's.
But don't you think, she's going to feel bad about this, going by the fact that they just recently separated, and of course we are not privy to things that have been going on in their family. So I feel like there's a lot more to this, more than what we are seeing in the public space. Don't you agree?
Well, I agree with you, but then whatever it is, you don't need to come to the social media to just bast the woman, saying I will go on, I will publish. You publish like it's defamation. You're paying a huge amount of money to her.
All right, let's take comment. We have a comment from Mena Blinks. This person said, "Them never marry, enter family. You don't, they cause chaos. Thank God they figured you out early. And Link is the true son of his father for cutting you off."
Well, Tyson, you've seen that.
I think she's still dealing with the fact that, they just separated recently. Sometimes when you don't, when you have not outgrown someone, you have not, moved on from someone, you tend to get angry easily when they talk about that person.
Get angry easily.
Yeah, it happens a lot. The second comment is coming from Ami Buna, saying, I am the only one who thinks family issues is supposed to be kept private. Okay, just like you are saying, this should not, come to the public space at all. It should be settled amongst themselves. All right, talking about the second story.
Well, if you are not making money than Erika, then the joke's on you. Bibi Naja Kid Wire tells those criticizing Erika over an inability to speak Igbo.
Really? Because I read the story yesterday, and I think I watched a particular interview of Erika, and then she spoke Igbo fluently. So a lot of persons are saying, how come? Are you trying to, catch cruise or just trend because you spoke Igbo fluently in that video? And then she came out to debunk that she had to rehearse her lines in that interview so she doesn't say the wrong thing. So people coming out to say you can't speak Igbo fluently, honestly.
The Yoruba part of the Igbo. See, well, I understand the fact that cultural your language should not go extinction.
Of course.
because you don't understand. Well, she should just understand. She will understand the the parts where I mean, she will understand a bit. She might not speak it fluently, but at least she will understand a bit. Maybe come, go,
of course,
bring water and this. But making it a conversational, it's quite difficult for her, because let's look at that. They brought her up in Lagos, I guess, not in the typical Igbo land, where when you pass through one old man, you must do day, you must greet. We pass through auntie, you must greet. Do you understand? Okay. Lagos, you're there, if you like. The only thing they understand in Lagos is once you can speak Pidgin, you are good to go. So they don't even mind you are from this place, you are from Benue, you are from Kwara, you are from this, you are from that. There are some people too that are in Lagos that they don't even understand Yoruba. And some of them will just like, I don't understand its vernacular. So it's something we just need to look into. Of course. She's making money.
There's room for improvement. I mean,
there's room for improvement.
She should not
but
be
she's making money
because of that.
Not because she speaks Igbo fluently. She's making money from what she knows how to do best. But let's not now look at it that because she cannot speak Igbo, no. It is not, would I say it is not by force?
Honestly, I think she came out
so what she's saying like it is not by force, but some people just feel like, wow, you need to understand your language. At least if you want to do this apropos of a thing. Because I remember that time when we were still very young, my mom, if she wants to tell us something, so that somebody else won't understand, she speaks in our language, and we understand, and we just go. And the next thing we just hear our neighbor will like, our neighbor will now speak in Yoruba like what to suffer, and the woman will speak in Ekiti dialect, and I understand Ekiti.
That's good. So I feel like, generally there's room for improvement. Even if she's not good, when it comes to speaking the language, she can always learn if she wants to. So people should not really, bash her too much, for
well,
that.
we have a comment there. Momentum _Edgar is saying that any small thing, you people will wave money flag as if everything is about money, and the people dragging her, what is your business? Oh, chim.
This person is sitting on the fence. I think this comment is coming because Kidwaya also tweeted, and I think they're friends, and he said, if you are not making more money than Erica, then the joke's on you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I think, just like we said, there's room for improvement. If you cannot speak your language fluently, if you're interested in learning, the room is open. However, do not make people feel less of themselves if they cannot speak the language very well. Not because they don't want to, but because of where they live, where they grew up, they cannot speak up. On that note, we want to say thank you for being a part of Daybreak Live this morning. Do not forget to join us same time tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And before I go, I would like to say that be yourself at all times. No one can ever be like you. My name is Oluwayemi Adela. I say thank you for joining this morning.
All right, this is the convenient time for us to say thank you for being part of the show. I mean, Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Remember, we can keep the conversation going on our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at DominionCast. Of course, you can watch us on www.dominion.org.ng. Well, this is where we'll be saying our BYE. And of course, my name is Pat Aito. I will tell you that you do what you love best. Have a good day.